there was one gun that was used to kill Paul, and then the AR was used to kill Maggie.
Right, a rifle. That's right. And personally, I think that is a forensic countermeasure.
I assume what you're saying is to throw off the scent that it was one killer.
The hosts of the Murdaugh Family Murders Impact of Influence podcast are two of many in the media that are watching this double murder trial of Alex Murdaugh take place, starting with jury selection yesterday, and today it continues. Joining us this morning, Matt Harris, co-host of that podcast and radio host in the Charlotte area. Thank you for being with us this morning. I'm curious what you're hearing from inside the courtroom, sort of the demeanor of the legal teams, the demeanor of Alex Murdaugh himself, and these potential jurors as they're trying to whittle down a jury.
Alex Murdaugh is obviously very familiar with a courtroom through all his work through the years as a injury attorney and as a volunteer prosecutor. So he knows how it works, plus generations of Murdaughs have run the show down there. So he is very comfortable in it. The people I've talked to said he is taking notes a lot. He's very intense. When the jury is not in, when they are asked to leave, he's very affable and joking around with the bailiffs and the guards that are on his detail. Dick Harpootlian, one of the best you can find, they say, is for a defense attorney, and he's also a state senator. He's, of course, taking his notes as well. He's also been seen yawning a lot of times throughout this because it's a long day to hear these questions fired away to the respective jury.
Matt, what are some of the questions that the potential jurors are being asked?
Well, one of the things about media, they're asked about, have you seen documentaries, have you seen TV shows, have you seen or heard podcasts? And Impact of Influence, our podcast, is mentioned specifically in the sheet that was handed to the jurors. Now, when the Judge Newman asked them, he doesn't name specific organizations, but he lists all the possibilities of various mediums. They also asked if you are a caretaker of a child or a senior. They also asked how will your job situation be affected if you're gone for multiple weeks, like if you have your own business, that sort of thing. Now, they went through the whole list of potential people that would be, witnesses that either side might decide to call on. And so they had to go through that list to see if anybody was related to or in some sort of business dealing with those potential witnesses. So a lot to sift through. And Colleton County is not a big county. So everybody knows everybody, basically. And I don't think they're worried that if you heard media or watched a doc or watched your show, that rules you out, because that would be crazy to think you're living under a rock and not hearing anything about Alex Murdaugh in the Low Country. But they want you to say whether you can put that aside and judge Alex Murdaugh on only what you hear during the court proceeding.
Right. I mean, that is how the justice system works. Put that aside, focus on the facts. Can you be impartial? A lot of people have wondered why there wasn't a change of venue, and we're seeing it play out now. The other layer to this, Matt, is the potential media circus that has descended upon this small town from all over the country. You've got podcasters, you've got journalists, you've got true crime watchers who have been following this case closely. What sort of parameters is the judge setting up to try to orchestrate what could be kind of a chaotic situation inside and outside of the courtroom?
Well, it's kind of been a flowing situation. It has changed throughout. Yesterday, I think Judge Newman had an idea of how big this was going to be, but when it actually presents itself, he's got to start making calls that he's not normally used to making about what can be brought into the courtroom, who can be in the courtroom, how do they work, the number of journalist or assigned seats, which we managed to get one of those. I think there's only 7 or 8. Otherwise, you are in just a lottery situation. And originally, it was like no phones, no Apple Watches, nothing like that from anybody who wasn't in those guaranteed media seats. And then yesterday, they said you could bring phones in And then yesterday, I believe they changed it again today, so no phones.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.